Hi, let's talk about accounting standards. You're welcome to episode 8 of Syllabus of Accounting Standards, and today we'll be talking about property, plant and equipment, IAS 16. Well, I have a story for you. Watch that first. Gold Bakery received an order to supply 100 cakes. Unfortunately, as production was about to start, the oven developed a fault beyond repair. The bakery had to order for a new oven and it was delivered and installed, and baking started. After a while, they decided to remove the old oven from the bakery since it was no longer useful. Now, how do we account for this oven in our books? Well, IAS 16 is going to help us to achieve that. Let's talk about IAS 16. PPE are physical assets that are held for production of goods or services, for rentals or for administrative purposes. And IAS 16 actually covers all this. But there's some long-term assets that IAS 16 doesn't cover, like investment property, which is covered by IAS 40, biological assets, which is covered by IAS 41, and IFRS 5, which covers non-current assets held for sale. That's just some of the other PPEs, or let's say properties, plant and equipment, that IAS 16 doesn't cover. Now, according to IAS 16, you recognize a PPE, that you record it in your books when the cost can be reliably measured, that you can actually know the cost of this asset. And is that asset going to give you benefits? Is it probable that future economic benefits will be enjoyed from using this asset? Now, looking at our example, the oven obviously will give us benefits because we can produce the bread, expand our business, and we can determine the cost as well because the invoice definitely says it all. So now that we know when we can record our PPE, how do we record it? Now, according to IAS 16, initially you should record it at the cost. Obviously, that makes sense. You just bought it. Put the value you just bought it there, right? So if you bought it for 50,000, record it at 50,000 or whatever price that you bought it. And as time goes on, that is subsequently, you would check for depreciation and impairment. So, but initially, you're measuring it at cost. Now, the other thing that after that initial measurement, for instance, let's say you bought it in 2024. After 1 year, how do you now keep recognizing it? In that case, now there are two options you can use actually. You can either continue using the cost model or decide to use the revaluation model. And the revaluation model is saying that you should revalue the asset. What is the fair value of the asset? What is the market value of this asset? If I want to go to the market right now to buy this asset, how much am I going to buy it? And that also makes sense as well, right? So we'll check, is there a fair value surplus or deficit? That is, we'll compare the value we have in our books. What is the value in the books now? If the value in the books, if the carrying amount of the asset in the books is 50,000 naira, and we can actually buy this asset in the market for 100,000 naira, that shows that we have a surplus of 50,000 naira. So we will debit PPE with 50,000 naira and credit OCI, that's revaluation surplus, with 50,000 naira. And that's the value that the company will keep using. And consistency has to be achieved because you cannot just come and be changing every year anyhow, and you cannot just be using different models for different assets. The class of assets, the model you choose has to be covered by all the class of assets. So for your equipment, if you want to measure them using cost, use everything for cost. If you want to use evaluation, use everything for evaluation. But the question is, what really makes up our costs? That is what we call components of cost. And there are some costs that you capitalize, that you add to the value of the PPE to get the cost value that you put in the statement of financial position. And there are some that you expense to SOPL. Any cost that is directly involved in that PPE, add it. Any cost that is not directly involved, take it to SOPL. So now, what are the costs we're talking about? So in this case now, definitely the purchase price. How much did you buy it? And sometimes you may be lucky enough to get some discounts or some rebates. So if you get any discount or rebates in that case, then you would deduct it from the purchase price. Then, do you pay any taxes? Did you import the goods, or do you have any non-refundable purchase taxes? You also have to consider that as well. Then any cost directly attributable or involved in bringing that asset to the location and condition intended for use, we are going to consider it, like site preparation. For instance, let's say you have to clear out a piece of land to place the asset there. That is a cost that was directly involved in the asset, right? And let's say you had to install, or you have to test the asset, or let's say you had to pay professional fees. Let's say you had legal agreements you had to take care of, or they had to deliver the assets to you. All these costs are directly involved, and you can see some others as well that are listed. So they are they are connected to the asset. So you capitalize it, you add it to the value. Then there are also some costs that you have to incur if you probably have to dismantle the assets or restore the site. For instance, let's say you have to, after 5 years, you just rented a piece of land to erect the asset there or something. After 5 years, you have to leave the land for the owner or something like that. So you have to dismantle it, right? And you have to restore that site, maybe clear up that place. That is also a cost that you can consider and add. And I think this is covered under IAS 37, provisions, contingent assets and contingent liabilities. That's for another day. Now, there's some costs that you would not add, that's not involved, like advertisements, general overheads, abnormal costs, initial operating losses, or any costs that the asset is already ready for use, or nothing is doing the asset is standing strong and you incurred it. No, take it to expense. So all those ones will be expense. So this is a list of some of those expenses, some of those costs rather, that you have to expense. You are not going to capitalize. There are some situations that the company will just say, oh, you're tired of these assets, please let's take it to the market and sell. So what happens in that situation? What do we do? So this is what we call the recognition of a PPE. So in that case, what we're going to do is that we are going to remove the value from the books. And the recognition happens in two situations. Number one, when the company decides to dispose the assets, or when the company sees that these assets, the life of the asset has destroyed, it's not giving us any benefit again, let us remove it from our books, right? So in that case, now we'll check what is the selling price of this assets, how much can we sell this asset, what is the value in the book. So let's say we can sell the assets for 70,000 naira. That's the oven, right? The oven that we bought. Let's say we're tired of it and want to sell the oven, and we can sell the oven for 70,000 naira, and then the oven, the value in the books is, let's say, 30,000. And that means what, we're going to make a gain of 40,000. So we'll debit cash and credit gain. That's under SOPL. And if it's a loss, we have to also record the loss as an expense. So that's how it works. So that's basically the summary of PPE. Trust me, it's much more, and enter inside, much more than this. But basically, that's just what we're covering, we're talking about. There's so many other complexities, but now don't forget, this is a synopsis. I'll see you in episode 9. Try out the quiz at the end of this video, and if you have not subscribed, hit the subscribe button, like, share, comment, and I'll see you later. Bye.